There we go. I can see people are joining. Morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. As with all of these things, 30 seconds awkward silence while we wait for people to sign in. You haven't got time to make a cup of tea, but you've got time to get yourself comfortable. We'll get going in a minute. Here we go. We're just waiting for a few more of you to join. Okay. Let's just... Right. Well, there'll still be a few more people joining, but I think in the interest of time, we'll make a bit of a start. Morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Someone used the phrase "Happy Hump Day" to me in an email today. Happy Hump Day. It's a bit cooler than what it was last week, isn't it? My name's Matt. I'm the MD at BIMA, and I'm here just to say hello, say thank you for joining. Thanks to the speakers that are going to take part in today's September masterclass. We run these every month, and the whole point about BIMA is that you learn from each other largely, and the masterclass is set up so you learn from another member, and members put forward ideas to kind of present to the rest of the community. So today we've got Chili, who's the joint MD, and Rosie, who's the managing partner at an agency called Passion Digital, who have been in BIMA membership for ages, and we love them to bits. Thank you so much, Chili and Rosie, for giving up your time to come and do this for us today. It's all about the future of search, right?
It is.
The days of just talking into Google or Siri have passed us, and there's a lot of other things we need to take into consideration. AI to TikTok to all of the other platforms. So
tons of stuff. Changing by the minute.
Yeah, well, tell us about all those other wonderful things, if you don't mind. I'm going to just do a quick bit on housekeeping. There's not very much because it's a webinar format. If you're on, everybody, we can't see you, so you're all good. But please do engage. That's really important. And you can use the Q&A function or the chat function in the bottom of your Zoom screen if you want to ask questions to Rosie and Chili. Apart from that, we're in for an hour, aren't we, I think?
Yes, so, we are.
Yeah, good. Sit back, everyone. I hope you got a cup of tea and enjoy. So, Rosie, Chili, I'm just going to hand straight over to you, if that's all right. Thanks so much for doing it.
Lovely. Thank you for having us.
I do have two things quickly to say, because I usually do this at the end, but I'll do it at the beginning. We've got two more events coming up that I wanted everybody to be aware of. We've got a lot going on at BIMA at the moment. If you're in London next week, it's on the 19th. We've got a really cool event. We run a cultural credibility event every quarter, and this one is around neurodiversity. It's called Great Minds Don't Think Alike. So breakfast is on us. It's hosted at an agency called Tug, which is kind of Shoreditchy way. That's online, but we'll send everybody an email that's on this call with an invite to that. And then the week after that is our big annual conference. So we take over the Ministry of Sound, which is pretty cool. And we've got loads of speakers there. And we've got a discount code as well. So we'll email everyone a link to that. Just two things I wanted you to be aware of. But now it's all about search. It's all about you, Chili and Rosie. Thanks so much. You should be able to share your screen and over to you.
Thank you, guys. I'll do that right now. I assume everyone can see this. So let's just kick off. So hi, we're Chili and Rosie. We're from Passion Digital. We're a performance marketing agency, and we've always considered ourselves very future-looking. We'd like to be innovative. We'd like to be creative. So the topic of the future of search is something that we've always been very interested in. So this is what we're gonna talk about today. Yeah, so speakers, so myself, Chili, I'm joint managing director at Passion. I've been in the industry for 13, 14 years, mostly on agency side. And I've worked with brands like Sony, HSBC, National Trust, QuickBooks, always helping them out, increasing their organic visibility. And I am going to talk today. I'm going to give you a little bit of context and background information on how search habits are changing and how the tech giants are responding to it. And then we've got Rosie, who will follow up after me. Rosie, do you want to intro yourself?
Yes, hello, I'm Rosie. So I'm a managing partner at Passion, and I also head up the Insight and Strategy department. I started off my digital marketing career in content, kind of grew up in organic marketing, and then spread my tendrils even further to kind of work on full cross-channel strategies. And this topic was my brainchild about a year and a half ago. And since then, when I first thought it would be interesting to look into how search was changing, so many things have happened, so many changes have happened over the past few months. So this deck that we put together has had multiple iterations, and it's something that's changing all the time. So in 6 months' time, it'll be different again. But what I'm going to be talking to you about is, so we know that things are changing. What can we as marketers do about it? So I'm going to specifically be talking about unsiloing search and social. Back to you, Chile.
Lovely. So this is the agenda, basically what we've just talked about. So let's just go straight in, how search habits are changing. So this is search as we used to know it. So basically until not long ago, all the searches online were happening on search engines. You've got Google, you've got Bing, Yahoo, you've got Yandex in Russia, you've got Baidu in China, but it's predominantly 90% of the share of voice is from Google, 95% depending on where you look at. So that is search as we know it. Although obviously there's also other platforms where people search for products like Amazon, for example, but predominantly this is search as we know it. But we could leave it at that. But again, in the last couple of years, things have changed quite a lot. And this is a piece of research from a global piece of research from Hootsuite. And what we can see here is that social media is actually the top channel for online brand research for Gen Z. This is really interesting, and this is something that wasn't the case a year ago. So what we can see here, if you look at these first bars, so 16 to 24 years old, now use social networks more for online brand research than search engines. If we go through the chart below to the older age groups, that is not the case. So 25 to 34-year-old, that's me. That's not me anymore. Damn it, that's not me anymore. Anyway, a bit younger people than myself and the rest, they all rely much more on search engines. My parents use search engines, like all the generation keep using search engines. But that change on the younger generations has already happened for online brand research. This other chart is also very interesting, and we can see what channels different age groups have used to discover new products. Yeah, you can see here the orange pinky color is Gen Z. The older generation is the yellow one, the boomers. So you can see that the is quite equal. So these, like, people from all ages are discovering new products by searching the internet, through in retail stores, and through word of mouth. Those three channels are very equal. But where there's a massive difference now is what we've said before. So Gen Z discovering products through social media, massive, nothing on the boomer side. And the opposite channel, TV. Young people are no longer discovering new products through TV ads. And that it kind of makes sense, yeah, because younger people, we don't watch TV anymore that much, but the older generation, old people, they do a hell of a lot of that. So that's naturally the way that they discover new products. So this is a very interesting quote from this top guy at Google, which I won't pronounce his name, but this is a very, very high up top guy at Google. He leads a lot of the search capabilities. He leads Google Maps, and he said this in the Fortune Brainstorm Tech 2022, in 2022. So in front of a lot of people. So he said, in our studies, where they did a Google US piece of research among the 18 to 24-year-old. In our studies, something like almost 40% of young people, when they're looking for a place for lunch, they don't go to Google Maps or search, they go to TikTok on Instagram. So this is quite surprising. The fact that a guy from Google said this, and the moment that he said this, like things went absolutely mental. And people in the media industry was all like, what? Why would someone at the top of Google say that this is happening? So then subsequently from him saying this, the media went mad. Yeah. So the New York Times, for Gen Z, TikTok is the new search engine. Need to find a restaurant or figure out how to do something. Young people are turning to TikTok to search for answers. Google has noticed. In Adweek, move over Google. TikTok is the go-to search engine for Gen Z. Younger generations now turn to social networks to research brands more than search engines. So yeah, tons of stuff around this, particularly around TikTok, where there was an article in the Independent in already in 2021 that said TikTok overtakes Google to become the most popular site on the planet. So TikTok is massive. Yeah, TikTok is a massive phenomenon, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more. So this is quite funny and quite interesting. I'm not sure if you saw, this post went absolutely viral. So we've talked about a lot of research, global research, US research, and now we're going to go to the other end of the spectrum and focus on more the qualitative side of things. So this lady is Zoe Jenkins. She's a creative marketing strategist, and more importantly, she's got a 14-year-old daughter. So she posted this on LinkedIn, I think, and it went absolutely mental. And she posted, yesterday, I spoke to my 14-year-old niece about social media, and this is what she told me. So YouTube is just TV. I'm better than using Google like that does. I can find anything on there faster and easier than reading an entire article. TikTok, again, better than Google. Can find anything with a quick search. Facebook, just laughter. So I don't even use Facebook anymore. Facebook is completely on the decline. It's more people like, I don't know, in my environment, it's more like my mom and dad who still uses Facebook. So completely on the decline. YouTube, better than TV. Young people are using YouTube a lot, but TikTok. Younger people use TikTok for absolutely everything. So because it's such a big phenomenon, we should all care about TikTok. And not only if your target audience is this younger generation, but I'm just gonna go through like a few facts and figures to hone in the fact that we all need to care about TikTok quite a lot. So first of all, TikTok is the fastest growing social media platform in the UK. And you can see here how far it has grown. So you've got the number of TikTok users in millions from 2020 and forecasted until 2024. So 2020, almost 10 million users, 16 million users in 2023. So it has doubled its usage. And this is a piece of research only for the UK. Yeah. 36%, almost 37% of all social media users use TikTok. And I know I said before that you should particularly care if your audience is on this younger generation, but we have to have in mind that 50% of TikTok users are older than 25 years old. So it's still it's penetrating on the other age groups quite fast as well. If we look at the other side of the graph, we've got here average time spent by users in the UK. Yeah, so we can see here that in 2019, users of TikTok, yeah, this is the blue line, spend 23 minutes a day on the platform, and this is users of all age groups. Yeah. But you can see that in 2020, it doubled and it was 42 minutes. And far forward now to 2023, and it's 50 minutes per day that users of all ages are using TikTok. So way more than Facebook, way more than Instagram, way more than Snapchat. So fact number 2, here we can see the time in minutes spent per day with social platform by age groups. So clearly, TikTok is Gen Z's most used social platform in the UK. You can see here the massive difference on the usage per minutes per day on the green line, which is the 15 to 24 years old. Yeah, they're spending an hour a day, a full hour a day on TikTok against other social platforms like Instagram, which I thought was still quite cool for young people, but apparently is no longer. Only 20 minutes a day on Instagram, and then quite a lot on Snapchat as well, and almost nothing at all on Twitch. If we move over to the next one, and this is a very, very, very interesting one, and very interesting for all brands, because what the graphs before have told us is that for these young people, TikTok is totally addictive. It is totally addictive. The young people, particularly for young people, although I'm sure more than 1 or 2 people in this webinar have been sucked into TikTok more than once, but it is very addictive. The format, the content, it just keeps people in way more than any other search social network has done before. But what we're looking at here, again, this is a UK piece of research, is that people are engaging way more with brands on TikTok than any other search engines. Yeah, this is the percentage of people that see a post from a brand on any social networks and engage with it, like it, comment, reshare it, whatever that engagement means. TikTok has grown from 2020 to 2021. The rate of engagement with posts that brands have done, and the rest of the social networks, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, are on the decline. Yeah, so people engage very strongly with brands on TikTok. In a good way or in a bad way, that's a different story, and that's that depending on what the brand wants to post. Yeah, but this is massive. So what is Google doing about it? Yeah, because Google is led by very, very, very clever people. It's full of academics. And, they were wondering, what the hell are we going to do about TikTok? They're stealing searches from us. And they thought about it from a very academic point of view, very scientific point of view. There was a piece of news in Forbes in July 2022 that said, Google is evolving search as Zoomers use TikTok, Instagram to find things online. So Google is responding to all of this, and is responding quite fast. So how are they responding? So they're responding very quickly, and in a nutshell, they're increasingly including images and videos in search results. Yeah. So in 2019, they started showing TikTok videos on the search results. So it was a very clever move, because obviously users are going to go away and watch the video on TikTok, but it was telling users that they could still use Google as a search engine and receive a different format that is not text-based format. Yeah, so that was in 2019. Then in 2020, they launched YouTube Shorts. This is kind of like the first direct copy. I don't want to say copy, but the Google's response to TikTok, as it was kind of like a copy, and we'll go through it in a bit more time. Then 2021, they launched the multitask unified model, which is basically is Google attempting to use more AI to interpret text and search images. And this is what enabled Google to launch in 2022 Google Multisearch, which is something that we're going to talk about in a little bit. And then in 2023, not long ago, I'm sure you've all heard about it, they launched SG, which would be talking about it in a little bit more. So the copy of TikTok, or the Google most obvious response to TikTok, is YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts launched in India in 2020, and Google did this because India had recently banned TikTok because of their bad relationship with China. And they realized that TikTok was very, very, very popular between young people in India. So they decided to launch there. And it went global in July 2021. So very similar to TikTok, very similar content format, vertical videos up to 60 seconds. And one of the better things for YouTube Shorts was obviously that they capitalize from the current user base of YouTube, which has over 2 billion users worldwide. So this means that YouTube Shorts has already 1.5 billion monthly active users. So quite similar to TikTok, but unfortunately for Google, the average time spent on the platform is nowhere near TikTok. One of the things that that Google have done really, really well about YouTube Shorts is the partner program that they have for influencers or creators, how they're called now. They treat them really, really well. You can join that program if you've got like 1,000 subscribers and 10 million short views within 90 days. And they treat them really well. So these creators can get 45% of the ad revenue that is shown between videos, and they can actually make money from views. And there's like a super thanks donation that you can pay creators. So really, really strong platform for creators. Who much better than TikTok, who, being a Chinese company, tend to keep more for themselves. Yeah. But again, really good copy, really good for creators, but the average usage time is not as high as TikTok. We move now into Google Multisearch, a new form of image searching. I'm not sure if some of you have used this Google Multisearch before, but it's really, really interesting. Really, really interesting, really easy to use. So basically you can take your phone, click on the camera icon, you can take a picture, for example, of this orangey yellow dress, and then Google will use AI to find image matches of a product similar to what you've taken the picture of, and it will find e-commerce or product pages. Then you can enhance the search by asking it for green dresses, and it will find relevant images of green versions of those dresses. Now with SGE, you can go one step more, and you could also ask follow-up questions like, is this dress appropriate for a wedding in Spain in September? And Google will actually give you the answer to that, which is pretty impressive, if you ask me. But before we go into a little bit more detail into AI, let's talk for a minute on the bigger loser of the future of search. So I don't know if you think the same, but I think we all thought, or everyone in the digital industry, we all thought that voice search was going to be the next big thing in search, and that everyone was going to be searching by voice and it was going to be massive. So that's not the case. Yeah, that is not the case at all. The amount of users that use voice search has plateaued quite a lot. It's not growing as quick as any other platforms. It is true that a lot of the population in the world, particularly we've got that 40% of US population use voice assistants. So you have the Google Homes and the Alexas, and it is amazing how the younger generations can use those. Like my 4-year-old daughter, she uses it all the time to ask for kiddie songs and to ask for stuff. Yeah. But even though people are using a lot of these voice assistants, only a 10% of these people are actually using it to search for brands or product information. So very, very little. My dad is definitely one of them. And I think is that older generation that still prefer to just click the microphone and just say something that, type with fingers that don't work that well. So it's definitely a thing for older generation, I think. So the usage has plateaued. This is no longer the future, and I don't think that's going to change much. So before we go into Rosie, and she can give you a little few tips and tricks on how we can capitalize on all this, let me give you like 5 minutes on AI. So ChatGPT launched in November 2021 and takes the world absolutely by storm. Everyone is using it. In 24 hours, it had millions of users exploring these capabilities, asking all sorts of questions. And, and it is funny because almost everyone that I know in my environment or the digital kind of environment have used ChatGPT. And a lot of us use it almost on a daily basis. Maybe not ChatGPT, but like tons of the platforms that use the ChatGPT kind of capabilities. But ChatGPT has a lot of problems or issues. Yeah. So first of all, you don't know where the sources are or what the sources are, which makes me really uncomfortable to trust a response if I don't know where it's coming from. It can give the wrong information. I think we asked the other day what was the capital of Australia, and it said Sydney. Because if in the internet there's a lot of information saying that Sydney is the capital of Australia, ChatGPT would say that. It's also a bit biased and very politically correct. So an example that I checked yesterday. So I asked about Vladimir Putin. Let me find it. Yeah, so we asked about Vladimir Putin, and what ChatGPT said: Vladimir Putin is known for his commanding demeanor, confident assertiveness, and strategic instinct to maintain the safety and security of Russia's border and people. So, it will never say anything negative or anything or anyone, even if it's Putin. Yeah. So that's ChatGPT. How is Google responding to that? It didn't do it very well. It launched BARD in March 2023. A lot of people consider it a failure. It was given lots of bad responses that were not accurate. And that wasn't great, to be honest, for Google. But another quote, this year in May, AI is coming to every Google search you make. So the AI version of Google search is called Search Generative Experience, and it will open up to the first users in the coming weeks. So SGE is a really much better version than BARD. And basically, you are now able to use Google as you use ChatGPT, but with a few improvements. So basically, SG provides up-to-date contextual answers to complex questions, and it populates the top part of the search results. So just before the organic results or the paid results, which I'm sure will have a lot of impact to us SEOs or paid search marketers. And I'll give you a bit of an example, but basically SG comprises itself for the snapshot, which is the unique generational AI result summary. You've got a conversational mode where you can answer follow-up questions. You've got the vertical experience, which lists features and details in product searches that you might be doing. And then it has an area called perspectives, which gives different viewpoints to help answer queries and give a little bit more perspective on everything. So this is an example for a query on how long does it take to learn to drive. So you can see the snapshot here. It gives result. Interestingly, and against ChatGPT, it does have a sources carousel where you can see where that information is coming from, where AI has taken that information that is put in there. Then you've got the conversational mode where you can ask, how long does it take? how much does it cost. So it's really quite good. And then the vertical experience is where we can't see here, but it's more focused on the product searches. And then lastly, you've got the perspectives view, which is basically Google's response to, okay, search habits are changing. People are sick of seeing only text in the results. Let's give them something more. Yeah. So this view will give you different viewpoints on a same topic, so the user can get a wider and better understanding of that topic in particular that you're asking about, and it will give different types of results. It will give video results, text results, it will give results from Q&A sites and forums, etc. So really interesting, and definitely a better response to the search, to the changing searching habits of the audience. So after all this rambling, what are the conclusions? Yeah. So the shift from text to video search has already happened among Gen Z. This is no longer the future, is the present, and we need to be very aware of that. Social search is growing fastest on TikTok, and is the #1 platform with highest brand engagement and purchase influence, where younger and not so young generations are starting to use to search for products, get entertained, etc. And AI is the next big thing for search, and Google is doing everything possible to respond to these changing needs of their audience. And I think that is me. Rosie, do you want to?
Yes, absolutely. I will share my screen instead. Hopefully you can see that. Excellent. Yeah. So Chile has given us a very useful and interesting stroll through the changes that we're seeing in the search landscape. And what I wanted to touch on in the second half of this presentation is what we as marketers can actually do about it. And it can be quite terrifying for SEOs in particular to think that, oh my God, everything's changing, SEO is pointless, what do I do about it now? And I think what I would say is that the search landscape may have shifted into social, but the psychology of how we seek information online actually hasn't changed. So a huge part of SEO has always been understanding search intent. So looking what people are searching for and then serving it in the best way possible. And very often, if you are in the SEO industry, you'll be very familiar with this. Our search intent funnel, at the top, we have informational phrases. So those are search queries that show an intent to find out information on a topic. And they tend to be a little bit more long tail and often include questions. So for example, what is the difference between tequila and mezcal? Somebody who's typing in that phrase into a search engine, they might not be ready to buy a bottle of mezcal yet, but they want to find out more about it. A little bit further down the funnel, we have our navigational search queries, which show an intent to visit a specific website. So at that point, they know where they want to go. Let's get them there. So this is a brand, the Lost Explorer Mezcal. The next further down the funnel is commercial investigation search queries. So this is a point when the searcher does seem to be interested in buying something, but they're not quite sure what they want to choose yet. So there may be modifiers in the search terms like best or top or reviews. So best mezcals 2022, for example. And then finally at the bottom, we've got our transactional key phrases at the bottom of the funnel that show an intent to buy mezcals. So for years, search marketers have been serving these intents with different tactics per channel. And traditionally, the informational key phrases at the top of the funnel are served by text-based blog posts. And then SEO and PPC can be used to target specific key phrases as we get further and further down the funnel. And I'd say that this is still true, but now we have more platforms than ever that can be used to serve those different intents aside from Google. So at the top, we might want to introduce Pinterest. We've got YouTube, we've got TikTok, and we've got Amazon, platforms like that as well. More and more forums where people are typing in their search online. And this is why I think this really matters. So I'm just going to delve a bit deeper into one of the points that Chile made. So what I did was I searched on Google for what to do in London. Now, if you put yourself in the mindset of, say, a 20-year-old woman who wants to go out on the weekend and wants to look for things to do in London, at the top of the SERPs here, I've got an ad carousel, and I've got Stonehenge and the Harry Potter Warner Bros. Tour. Neither of those things are in London. So immediately I'm being served information that is not relevant to me. On the right-hand side, we've got the knowledge panel that tells me that London is the capital of England. Thank you, very useful. It tells me the elevation above sea level, the population size. All of this is not relevant to my search. I want to know what to do on a Saturday night. Then we've got the top sites, and it's saying the Tower of London, the British Museum, Tower Bridge. Again, it's not what I want to see as a young person. If we go further down the SERPs, on the right-hand side, continuing that knowledge panel, it's got a list of events. Okay, that's great. I'm going out. What can I go to? We've got an inheritance tax masterclass. Okay, yes, great. Definitely going to be going to that one. At the bottom there, there's an under fives at Marylebone Library. Again, not super useful to me. When we see the kind of the first organic results on the left-hand side there, the top one is 101 things to do in London. And this is evidence of quite a popular SEO technique called skyscraping that was pioneered kind of about 5 years ago, where basically the tactic is if somebody writes a listicle of 10 of the best things to do, if you then write something about 15 of the best things to do, you'll be more authoritative. You can ask for the backlinks from all of the people who are linking to the 10 things to do as a better source for things to do, and you'll go further and further up the rankings. And even though, yes, that's very clever, and if some people do that, then they might be able to get to the top of the rankings. When everybody does that, we end up with stupidly long lists, like 101 things to do in London. I don't have the patience to scroll through 101 things to find out what I want to do on my Saturday nights. So I think what we can really see from this is that traditional desktop search is bloated and it's hard to navigate for people with a small attention span who can't be bothered to be faffing around with all of this information. If we do this search on TikTok, we get quite a different experience. So again, I've typed in what to do in London, and the results that I get, they're much more visual. They feature trendy young people like me. And the one that I've picked out here, I'm hoping that this video works. I'm not sure if the sound is going to work. Can you hear the sound when I press play? No? Okay, fine. You can just watch the video and it'll be very, very loud in my ear. So this is an example of one of the results. So things I never knew existed in London. Life-size Monopoly. Bottomless cake experience. Cinema with real sand. 2-litre glass of Aperol Spritz. Upside down globe. Market inside an old church. There we go. So that's a minute long, and immediately it's told me there are so many cool, interesting things for me to do in London, and that is the search that I want to make. So why are people turning to TikTok for answers? On the left-hand side here, we've got a thread that went viral last year of this person that said, I'm not even joking, but TikTok is proving to be a better search engine than Google these days. And I was really interested to see the responses that were coming off the back of this. Someone said, I love it for how-tos. It's so quick, so you don't have to sit down through boring preamble like on YouTube. Another one said, they give a video explanation and proof all in one. It explains and breaks it down. Google be wanting me to click too many links. So I think the reason that people are choosing TikTok is because it's short, fast-moving video content that's really easy to consume in a very addictable, scrollable format. It has built-in social proof, and that's something that young people especially really value. So it's the recommendations are largely driven by creators, these people that they see as a mirror of themselves, and they trust them more than brands and publishers. It has a really powerful algorithm, as we all know, that serves curated content just for you. So the more you engage with it, the more it serves content that it thinks you're going to like. And time sensitivity as well, that Google has traditionally not favored. You know, if you can filter by the most recent things, you can get the most recent results back. So what I want to suggest is that search marketers and social media marketers really should work together, because more than ever, we're seeing people searching in different places. So when you do that keyword research, in Google, and you do your search intent analysis and you split it out into your navigational, transactional, informational, and commercial investigation phrases, rather than putting all of that keyword research focus on your own website, think about what channel you can push them out on. So your navigational and transactional phrases will probably still be used on your website, and SEO tactics to try and rank for them. You would do on-site optimization, link building, make sure your Google My Business profile is up to date. You might be optimizing your Google shopping feed, or using Amazon as well if you're an e-commerce brand. But your informational and commercial phrases, the point when your users are wanting to find out more, that's where you can take advantage of these other platforms. So you can optimize TikTok or YouTube videos and optimize Pinterest pins as well. So one thing that I would just mention at this stage is that there is no official keyword research tools for TikTok and YouTube that I'm aware of. So SEOs absolutely rely on Google Keyword Planner and all of the information that it gives you in terms of search volume, but that doesn't exist for TikTok. It hides all of its search data at the moment. Now, there's rumbles that might be the case in the future, not be the case in the future, because they're rolling out different ad formats. And YouTube as well, interestingly, even though it's owned by Google, you can't view YouTube search volumes inside Keyword Planner, which is quite interesting. Other SEO tools do show you what it calls YouTube keywords, but in my experience, they look exactly the same as the keyword results from Google. So I'm not quite sure where they're getting that information from or if we can really trust it. So what I would say for this exercise is, for now, Google is still an incredibly important gateway for search. Use your Google keyword research to inform the stuff that you're doing on other channels as well. So the next question that you need to ask yourself is, should you use TikTok, YouTube, or Pinterest? And the first thing that I would say is know your audience. Where are your audience hanging out? There's a big difference between the people who hang out on TikTok and those who hang out on Pinterest. So Pinterest, even though it is quite spread across all ages, it's mostly 75% female. And it's much more focused on specific countries. So Europe, the USA, and South America particularly. If you're a global brand looking for females and males, it might not be your first choice. YouTube, on the other hand, is all ages, male and female, and global. It has a huge reach, as we all know, and a lot of different categories that it serves. TikTok, it does skew on the younger end at the moment, but it is male and female and global, and only getting more and more expansive as time goes on. So also be aware of the format that you're going to have to create for it. So one of the reasons I think that TikTok has blown up so quickly is that it's so accessible for everybody. It's accessible for individuals and it's accessible for brands. So the short form videos can be shot and edited all from the same phone, as opposed to YouTube, where these long or short form videos have to be edited outside of the app and then uploaded. So you need kind of videography skills, you need editing skills, and the production value tends to be a lot higher. Production value on TikTok is purposely lower. And if you do anything too glossy, it's seen as a bit too try hard. And then Pinterest, on the other hand, is quite a different kettle of fish, really. And I'm not going to go into it too much in this presentation, but you need image or video pins that link to a web page on your site. So the whole point of Pinterest is that you're linking back to your site at every single stage. So you need to make sure that you have a good plan and you know what you're promoting at all times on Pinterest to drive traffic back to your website. So I wanted to give a really quick guide for anybody in social who's thinking, I'm not an SEO, I don't know how to optimize videos on TikTok. It's really easy, super easy, much, much easier than any kind of thing that we do in SEO. So step one is to add the keyword as in video text. So you can see I searched here Secret Santa gift ideas under £10. A lot of them have the best Secret Santa gift, Secret Santa under £10 gift ideas, friends for Secret Santa £10 budget. This just immediately, when somebody is searching, it mirrors what they're looking for and makes them more likely to click on the result, as well as giving the algorithm their keywords to know what to rank it for. And then include relevant keywords in the caption and in the hashtags. It's really that simple. So here from Superdrug, we've got, we set so-and-so a Secret Santa £10 challenge. What would you gift? Hashtag Secret Santa, hashtag Christmas present, hashtag gift ideas. But what's vitally important, and this is where search and social really combine, is that there's so much more you need to think about when you're optimizing TikTok videos. So you need to make sure that you play to the algorithm as well as you possibly can. So the videos need to be short because video completion has a really high weight in the algorithm. So make sure that the first 2 or 3 seconds count to really draw people in and keep them watching. Trending sounds is a really important one for discoverability on TikTok. So basically, when users interact with a video that uses a specific audio track, the algorithm recommends other videos using the same track. And that's why you'll see trends going around TikTok, because one person does it, then you see another one, then you see another one, people join in, and it kind of snowballs from there. So you can use trending songs and sounds to improve the visibility of your videos. And then post timing, this is important on a lot of different social platforms, but try to post when your audience is most active. Now, the TikTok algorithm is very advanced, and it has a bunch of different factors that it ranks videos on. So you need to be aware of all of these things. I'm not going to go through them because I know we're running somewhat out of time. But just be aware of all of those algorithmic elements when you're optimizing your videos. So in short, optimizing on Pinterest, YouTube, and TikTok is actually pretty simple. At its very base, it's about helping the crawler make sense of your content and understand that it's related to a specific search topic. So wherever that crawler might come across the text, you can add a key phrase that might be in the video or pin title or description, on the text, in the hashtags, and then make sure you structure your content thematically on your profile. That just gives more and more signals that it's related to a specific topic. So whether that's on Pinterest, that's boards, on YouTube, that's playlist names, and using the content categorization options that the platforms give you as well. But really important to say, your search-led content should supplement your current activity on the platform and not replace it. So even though you have this evergreen search-led content on your social profiles, don't forget to do your brand building, do your user-generated content, your seasonal content, your reactive content, because you don't want to feel stale. You want to keep on top. Like, social is all about having your finger on the pulse of what's going on around you. So social media experts, your life is getting harder. But SEOs, your life is getting harder too. Because as Chili said, search is changing a lot, and traditional search and traditional on-site optimization through text is changing as well, and we need to adjust with it. So there was a study that came out in January 2023, and when I read this, I really felt like it made sense to me. So we don't think anymore of search being on a traditional desktop in a search engine. That's losing popularity. This example that I gave earlier, people don't tend to do that anymore. The majority of people search on their phones when they're out and about. And all of the searches that they're doing, they're often driven by location needs, sensory cues, emotions. They tend to occur in the presence of others as well. So searching is part of kind of our social interactions. And that's why I think Google is investing quite heavily in Google Lens, Google Multi-Search, as we saw earlier. So this is an example of the picture that hangs in my living room. I took a picture of it with Google Lens. It recognizes the image, and it comes up at the bottom here. We've got a ribbon where you get to choose what is it that you're trying to achieve with this search. So I could search my cocoa plant engraving. There's a bit of German text on it. So it might be that I want to translate that bit of text. So I can kind of use the ribbon to click on translate, and it gives me a translation of Kalauerbaum. Or it might be that I want to shop for similar items. So I scroll along, go on the shop, and then it shows me various similar items that I might want to shop for. The real difference for SEOs with this kind of visual searching is that we no longer have keyword research, and we no longer have search intent analysis, because every image that users take reflects what the searcher sees in front of them at the time. And that means that every search query could potentially be unique. And that makes search volumes really hard to accurately quantify. And the image that they're taking doesn't necessarily indicate their search intent. So on Google Lens, when they use that ribbon at the bottom to select how they want their search to be kind of carried forward, that is them indicating their search intent. And at the moment, Google does not give us that information. We don't know what people are searching for or how they're searching for it. So all we can do is carry on with our channel tactics, but we're a lot more blind than we ever were before. And this is worrying for SEOs because we rely on data more than anything else. So how we get around this is we really need to make sure that all of the visual elements on our websites are optimized as well as possible. So if we want our images to be found in visual search, we need to give them just as much care and attention as we do our text-based information on the page. So the image, we need to balance image quality and file size, make sure that the image is large enough to be seen clearly, but not so large that it really slows down site speed, because that's going to affect your ability to rank. Optimize image file names, alt tags, and captions. So this is something that sometimes SEOs do, but more and more as more images are being included on websites, we need to make sure that they are in exactly the same way we're optimizing for social posts. We're making sure that it's very clear immediately what it is that's being shown in the image, giving the crawler all the information it needs to be able to rank us. And then finally, using proper structured data markup and adding an image sitemap as well. All of this stuff is giving the crawler more and more information to get it indexed and to get it ranking. But it's also important to make sure that the rest of the places where your website is found online are being optimized too. So your Google My Business profile, for example, your knowledge panel or Wikipedia page, and of course you can't forget normal SEO best practice as well. So what I want to finish with is I read an interesting article of a woman, Crystal Carter from Moz, who went to a promo event for Lyft in Las Vegas. And she took a picture of, it was kind of like a mini golf type situation. And she took a picture of this, the mini golf course with the big Lyft logo in it. When she searched with this on Google Lens, interestingly, Google didn't recognize Lyft as a logo. What it recognized was this big sign in the background for Pad's Blue Ribbon. And the reason for that is that Pad's Blue Ribbon had claimed their Wikipedia page. Their knowledge panel is fully up to date. It's very well recognized in the Las Vegas area. And Google was like, I recognize that. That must be the most interesting, the most relevant thing in this picture. Lyft, on the other hand, have not claimed their knowledge panel online. Their logo hasn't been given to Google as a way of saying, this is who we are, this is who we represent. And that means that Google hasn't recognized that Lyft or anything associated with Lyft is present in this picture. And I think that's a really interesting thing to point to end on, that at some point, do we need to be optimizing the real world for visual search as well? If people are going to be using their photos that they're taking out and about as a search, how can you make sure that your brand appearing in the real world is able to be found as well as it possibly can online? So to conclude, changes in search habits and platform capabilities both mean that marketers need to look outside of their job descriptions of 5 years ago and learn new skills. So you use the fundamentals of SEO on social. Right now, social optimization is much more rudimentary than search engine optimization. So it's actually a really easy and accessible way to get into it. And on the other side of things, SEOs need to prepare websites for those changes that the widespread adoption of more visual search is going to bring. That is it. I went over slightly, but we do have time for some questions and answers, if anybody has any. So Justine said, can you access the recording of this webinar, please? Yes, you can. It's being recorded at the moment, and as far as I'm aware, Lara and team will be sharing it.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be sharing it. It will be posted on the website, but I can also send it in the follow-up emails, but I'll have to ask marketing once it's ready as well. So I'll let you know.
Yeah, so Chandeep, you say you mentioned optimizing for the real world. Do you mean optimizing logos and visual identities? Yes, I think it means if you're going out and doing an event where you know that people are taking lots of pictures, making sure that your brand is front and center, is nice and clear, and then that your logo and your kind of brand identity online is clearly tied to your visual identity. So in that case where we have kind of the knowledge panel, making sure that all of your digital assets are updated so that when people find you in the real world and take a picture of you, Google can recognize that that's you and send them straight to you. Hopefully that made sense.
You've got another one, Rosie. Is this all applicable in B2B and B2C?
Yes, I'd say it is. So B2B, probably slightly less so, just for the reason that, especially with stuff like visual search, it's very unlikely that somebody is going to search, what is hyper-converged infrastructure, which is one of our B2B clients. And, the likelihood of people ever doing any kind of visual search or social search for that kind of phrase is quite slim. I think we just need to be really aware of where are your audience hanging out online and what are they doing when they're there, in order to kind of capitalize on search intent. Generally speaking, B2B, I'd say, is still going to be quite text-based. So this is not to say that text blog posts are dead. I think there's absolutely a place for them. What I do think is that with the onset of AI, gone are the days where you can just churn out 6 relatively generic blog posts of rehashed information based on other stuff you find online. I don't think that's going to get you rankings, and I don't think that's going to get you to be a cited source for AI answers. I think what you need to do from a content perspective is really put out information that is fresh, that has a different angle, that has an opinion, that has a reason for you to be cited over other people in those results. So I think for B2B, that's going to be a really important thing going forward, is having a voice, having an idea, having an opinion, and allowing that to come through.
Lovely. We've got Joshua as well that asks, with Google's AI search feature being added, will the information and sources being displayed be based on top results from SEO, or by what is deemed as most relevant to the question? That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer to it. Do you know the answer, Rosie?
I imagine it will be one and the same, because the whole reason why things rank is because Google sees them as more authoritative. So its algorithm is already saying that that is more authoritative because it has more backlinks and it has more relevancy. So in theory, those are probably going to end up being the cited sources. But I think we need to watch it for a bit longer to find out how and why.
Agreed.
So Valentina, you said, why have you talked about TikTok, Pinterest, and YouTube and not Instagram and Facebook, for instance? So it can be applied to Instagram and Facebook as well, but generally speaking, in the way that users use those platforms, it's less search-led. So Pinterest and YouTube are absolutely search-led. They're visual search engines, and TikTok is going that way. People are going to it more and more to search online, less so on Instagram, in my experience, and not so on Facebook. Like, hashtags didn't even take off on Facebook, let alone search queries. So that's why we're kind of thinking more about those other platforms. That's not to say that the techniques that we've talked about here won't work on Instagram and Facebook. I think anything to make your posts more relevant to stuff that people are interested in is always going to be useful, because at the end of the day, search queries are just a litmus test for what people are thinking and feeling on the information that they want to find. So if you can create posts based on that, then I don't think you're going to be going wrong.
Thank you, Chili and Rosie. That was very interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.